Hello, my name is Hunter Fleming. This is my partner Michael McDaniel, and for the last 2.5 months, we've been working on a digital skull catalog in collaboration with Tristan Hansford and the University of Georgia here at ABAC.
All right. So as he mentioned, our main contact and stakeholder was Tristan Hansford. He works at the UGA Tifton campus in the Department for Invasive Species Control and Ecosystem Management. As far as ABAC goes, we worked with Dr. Vanessa Lane and Dr. William Moore. They were the ones who made sure we had access to the facilities and pulled out the skulls that we needed from storage. We also worked with Dr. Jason Scott and Dr. Wallace Woods, who helped us with identifying different species and helped us with some of the individual features on those skulls. Later on in the project, we also got help from Kitty Davis in the Lab Sciences building. She helped us pull out some skulls from the Britt Hall collection to supplement those that we were missing out of the YOW.
The purpose of this project was to begin composing a digital archive of wildlife skulls that we have here on campus at ABAC. And these pictures will be uploaded to a website called Bugwood. And Bugwood is a public website that you upload images to, and these images can be used by the public, they can be used by professionals, and they can be used educators. So this can be used by other wildlife professionals, just random people in the public, as well as educators such as teachers, instructors at other universities, so on and so forth. And me and Micah ourselves will get credit for these pictures if it is used in any article, magazine, whatever. If it needs to be cited, me and Michael will get credit, or Michael will get credit for this.
Yes, so the whole purpose of this project, again, it is not really the focus of the skulls that we did photograph, but hopefully it's a starting point from which the rest of the skulls can be uploaded to Bugwood eventually, and then this idea can spread to other parts, other things that we have in our possession that can be used for educational purposes, like different mounts and other specimens that we have in our different collections. So we selected these skulls out of a list that was given to us by Tristan. He gave us just over 30 species, and from there we gave our list to Dr. Lane and Dr. Moore, and they pulled out the skulls from the storage room and set it out in the wildlife techniques room, where we photographed the majority of the species we looked at. Later on, we went to Kitty Davis and worked with her in the Lab Sciences building and picked up the extra skulls that we were missing from there. So the way we set this up, I'll show this in a later slide. We set our light box on a table, and inside the light box we had a engineer scale that we used to give this scale for our animal or our specimen, and the skull would be right behind that. On the scale on one side we had a little sticker that had numbers and letters that corresponded with a list that we had, so we could keep track of the species. And then, of course, we had our camera on a tripod pointed into the light box and on our species.
And when it came for the actual specific photos of the specimens, we took obviously more than the 3 types of pictures that we tried to get for each specimen, but there were 3 main angles we tried to focus on. This was a frontal angle, which had the skull looking directly into the camera, and what this did was it got a frontal view showing possible both upper and lower jaw, as well as any defining features such as with the Virginia possum and the arch it has on the top of its skull. Secondly, we did a dental image, and this was just to show the teeth off, and like for specific species, once again referencing the Virginia possum, most teeth of any mammal, that is a key identifying characteristic. So use the dental, you can show that off. And lastly, you got a profile which shows, mostly this was just to get the overall length of the skull. So you had the frontal, which was focusing on the width as well as minor identifying features, dental, and then profile, which got the width of the entire skull. And then we did have additional photos, such as we have a younger and older buck that we have later on, and then for certain species like red and gray fox, we also have them compared.
Yes, so when we felt it necessary, we had other comparison shots, and those will be shown on the next slide. So some species had several photographs, while some only had 3. So this shows the basic setup for most of our pictures. Again, the skull itself right next to the ruler we used for scale, and our tag here showing the corresponding number, and then our camera and tripod, and the light box to diffuse the light. And this was set on a table about waist height. And then here are some of the examples of us taking pictures.
Yeah, this is myself and Micah working the camera. And what we would do is, obviously this was a light box, and then we'd have to set the roller in the light box with the proper number or number and letter, set the skull in there at the angle we wanted it to, focus it, make sure we had the camera focus, take a picture of it. And then when one of us was not actually working the camera, as you can see, Micah in this image is working on setting up the roller for the next species, as well as getting the next species. So say if we just got done with 5, Micah would get the roller, put the number 6 tag on there so we know it was a 6 specimen, set the roller down, set the skull down, and then whoever was working the camera for that day would then begin to take a picture of the 3 pictures.
Yeah. So then we have some specific examples. So here for the American alligator, not all of the photos are here for this, but this shows a good example of a profile shot from the side. So that gives us a good idea of the length here, just over 11 inches. And then here it is a bottom shot from the front showing the dental profile. This was one of the skulls that we didn't have a lower jaw for. That was the case for many skulls, unfortunately. And then here this one shows another shot that I felt was a good one to include, showing the base of the skull and these bone structures coming out. And then this is just another picture kind of at an angle to help get us an idea of how wide it is in proportion to the length.
In this image, this is one where I was talking about where we had the comparison of the younger buck as well as the more mature buck. And then once again, you have the profile showing off the antlers as well. You have the dental records here, and then you have the side-by-side comparison of the younger buck with his antlers just now starting to form, and then the much more mature buck with the formed antlers.
And then here was another one that was mentioned, the red and gray foxes. So here, this one, we had denoted it as just 4, while our red fox was 4R. This was just a way where we were able to cut down on the supplies we used and help cut down on time. Instead of putting on a whole new sticker, we just drew an R on there. It was just one of the smaller things that we could do to help speed up the process. Again, this shows, so for this species we had 2 gray foxes, and we were able to shoot both of them at the same time to help give a better idea for some of the comparison and scale. This one here for the red fox shows a good dental shot, and this one shows a profile shot of the red fox.
Once again, like I mentioned before, the Virginia possum, most teeth of any mammal in the U.S., so we have it. You have the dental record here showing both top and bottom jaw, and then you have this one over here where we actually took the skull apart. And you have the skull itself and the upper jaw, and then the lower jaw, and this gives you a really good shot of both the teeth. And then for once again going back, you have the zygomatic arch here, and then you can slightly see it there. And that is what we were talking about when that was some of the more fine identifying features.
Yeah, so again, like he said, the zygomatic arch, and then I felt it was a good idea to include the rear of the skull to show the space through which the jawbone juts up through on the rear of the skull. And then for our black bear here, this was one of the larger skulls, and it was just big enough to fit. It was one of the trickier ones, so here we have a good profile shot, but unfortunately this was one of the species where we had to split the lower jaw and the upper portion of the skull because we couldn't get them both in the same picture. So here on the top it shows the dental profile, and then here on the bottom where we had to split it, showing the lower jaw.
And then up next we have the 9-banded armadillo. Tristan did say that he wanted mostly native species, native mammals, cervids, rodents, bats, stuff like that. But we went ahead, we did have an armadillo skull, so we went ahead and did that, as unfortunately with it being such an exotic invasive species, and they're essentially becoming more and more common here in South Georgia and now further north, we figured we would go ahead and take a picture of the skull while we had one in our possession.
Mm-hmm. This is also, unfortunately, another example of one of the ones where we didn't have the jaw to include. But then here on this side, we have a screenshot of the Bugwood database, the actual website. And then over here is a screenshot of the batch that we uploaded of pictures, with our first 2 pictures from the white-tailed deer. So the cool thing about Bugwood is that it's crowdsourced, it's open to the public. Anyone can browse and upload pictures to it. So there are professional photographers, amateurs, people that just upload sightings like of a rare bird or something like that. And it's very diverse. It covers anything related to natural resources, and so when these people, I think it says there's just about 30,000 subjects and just under 3,000 different photographers. And when these people upload them, the site is moderated, and those moderators will edit and categorize the photos. So our contact was Tristan, so presumably he'll be the one that will be dealing with the editing and everything regarding that for the pictures.
When it came to problems, thankfully we didn't have much in the way of serious problems, just more minor inconveniences. The one serious problem we really did have was scheduling, especially with me and Micah having extremely different schedules, so finding spare time when we weren't doing classwork or just slam trying to study. So just finding free time to work on this project. As well as, since the camera itself did belong to Tristan Hansford, we were not allowed to keep the camera in our possession. It had to stay with Dr. Lane. So if Dr. Lane was not in her office, or if Dr. Lane was already gone for the day when we had time to work on it, we could not get work on it done for the day, as we did not have access to the camera. And then for when it comes to events, this semester was Conclave, which took up days, if not weeks, out of this project, because as me and Micah were both on the team, we were constantly practicing for either Quiz Bowl, Team Field, and so that just took up so much of spare afternoons when we could have been working on this project. Secondly, as I mentioned, we did borrow the camera, so we were not super familiar with the equipment, and as you can see, we did forget to charge it at one point, but thankfully we were able to get the work done for that day, got the battery charged, and we were able to continue work. Secondly, as I'm the only one in the group that has had a mammalogy class, and that has been well over a year ago, I was not super caught up on my identification skills, and Micah himself has never had mammalogy, he's never had any identification, so I was trying to relearn these as well as teach him these problems. And then lastly, the biggest problem we had was just the skulls, the specimens themselves, as some of the quality was not very good, as they were very old skulls. Some of the size was really hard. They were so big or so small that we couldn't get them properly into focus. And then overall, just availability. He wanted roughly 30 specimens, and all said and done, we were only able to get roughly 25, 26 specimens done.
So coming off of that, the purpose of this project was not just the skulls that we uploaded, but hopefully will extend to including all of the skulls eventually, and many of the other resources that ABAC has, making them available through Bugwood and similar programs. And again, it's not limited to just the skulls. There's many educational materials that we can use and can share with other people as well. And coming off of talking about the availability of the specimens that we had trouble with, perhaps another future project that could be done would be taking an inventory and organizing the area. I know at one point it was, but I guess over time, just people not putting things back has led to quite a mess. There were several species that we were completely unable to find, despite us. We definitely have them somewhere, but there was nothing we could do about that, considering our time restraints and our access to the rooms. But again, it's hopefully this is a starting point where more can be done in the future, making our resources available for other people to use for teaching and viewing. And again, thank you to the professors that helped us, and Tristan as well. We needed a lot of help, and we got a lot of help. Thank you.